Today we're talking through a new dual purpose 100 amp hour lithium battery from WattCycle. We've used a couple WattCycle batteries in the past, 2 or 3 of them, overall pretty good results. So you can check the channel for those if you're interested at all, but this is their dual purpose battery. There's lots and lots of dual purpose batteries coming out. These things kind of go in waves. It was like everybody had a Group 31 battery, then some Group 24s came out. Now dual purpose is the thing. And you definitely want to make sure that this is compatible with your engine, depending on whatever you're using this on, whether it be an RV or a boat, whatever. Definitely do that research to make sure that your alternator or your charging system, whatever it is lithium approved and will handle it. So far in our testing with our 115 Pro XS Mercury, no issues. It will take a charge just fine, but I do have a lot of electronics running on it. So when I'm running down the water, I do have a decent load on it. I've not had any issues with it being fully charged and shutting down. So just keep that in mind that all these dual purpose batteries, there's definitely a strategy to the battery management system to make sure there's no issues. And just, make sure you got a warranty on it. Make sure you know how that's going to work. Read the fine print, all that good stuff. Anyway, let's get into the details. This is a dual purpose battery like we talked about, 1280 watt hours. I think it's 1200 cranking amps for 9 seconds, 600 for 30 seconds, which is a ton of power, right? That's really unloading this thing. It is self-heated, which in my opinion is an absolute must for a cranking battery. Why would you need a self-heated battery? It really doesn't matter if you're using it for like an electronics battery, for the most part, or a trolling battery. As long as you're not trying to charge it while the battery is below freezing, you really don't need it. But let's just say you're going fishing, you live up in Canada or whatever, and you fish when it's below 32 degrees like a crazy person, then you may need a self-heated battery, because what's going to happen is you're going to crank it over and discharge it. Some, not a huge number, but you're going to crank it up. And then when that alternator goes to charge it, if you don't have self-heating, it just will never charge the battery and just discharge. But if you have self-heated, then it will use that energy coming from the alternator, warm up the battery, and then accept that charge so you're not just constantly pulling off the battery. Makes sense. So by the end of the day, you're cranking it, you're turning it off, you're running whatever, you want to be able to put some charge in it on a cranking type application. Good? Let's talk about the dimensions of this thing. This is one of the first quirks. So it is stated to be a 13.94 by 6.93 by 7.36 inch battery. I have a 31 over there. A 31, I want to say is 13 and a quarter off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that. This joker is right at 14 inches, which does not fit in my Group 31 trays. So if you are trying to replace a Group 31 battery or you have a 31 tray, you need to make sure you've got some extra space. In my boat, I do not have extra space, and it had to kind of fit in there wonky while I was testing it. And if I had a RV or something and I had some more space, probably wouldn't be a big issue, but on a boat, it did not fit. And I've told them that, and it sounds like they're going to work on improving the case size, which is a thing. Like I have a Group 27 100 amp hour dual purpose battery. So they definitely get smaller. They could probably optimize that a bit. Just so you know, it's kind of an oddball size. Make sure it fits in your setup. The next thing let's talk through it's not odd, it's not a quirk, but it is different. It has traditional posts on it. So below these, you can put a regular battery cable on it, which is not what you'll find in a boat, but it is kind of nice that you could do that if you wanted to. I have some adapters that I've used on other batteries before to run a post style, but that is cool. It does have M8 terminals on the inside, or M8 threads, but that is different. I do like the handle. It's a really easy battery to get around. It's a 25-pound battery, so it's super light compared to a normal 100 amp, I guess a normal Group 31 size battery. And it does have this button, this guy here. And actually, as I found in my manual, see if I can show you this, it does not talk about the button. The button is like not there, but in the latest version I found on the website, it's there. Force start button. That's what that's for. So I kind of had to fiddle with it to figure out what it was doing. So let's talk through that a little bit. A force start button, which is really nice on a dual purpose battery, because what that does is it's monitoring its discharge. It's an over discharge protection. It's letting it run down, and then it says, hold on, I want to make sure you have enough to start back up again. I'm going to shut off intentionally. So you hit this button, and to me it was like it felt like it was a delay. So like you hit it, you give it a little bit of time, and then the voltage would come up. And I'll show a video on that here in just a minute. But anyway, that gives you a couple more cranks, right, to get things up and running so you don't just sit there listening to your radio, kill your battery, and then you're stuck. It gives you that reserve capacity, which is pretty nice. That's what you get out of lithium. Like, it's smarter than a lead acid battery that will just run itself into the ground and then you're screwed. The other thing worth mentioning is it is app enabled, as you can see on page 1 here, Apple Store and Google Play Store. So it is a pretty good app. So I've got it on my phone here. It's quick. It picks up your battery fast. It's live updating. You're able to see what's going on with it, which is nice. Again, that's another must-have anymore. Like, I really wouldn't buy a battery without Bluetooth. Now, they're not always perfect from the SOC, state of charge standpoint, but it's always good to have some information on what's going on. There's no reason to not buy a Bluetooth-enabled battery anymore. So that is nice. Self-heated Bluetooth, 4-start button, size, we kind of talked through. Other than that, let's jump to the capacity test. So we did do a traditional capacity test on it where we checked that force start. So let me go jump over to that. We're going to cut into this video as I am here on a Friday night testing batteries, because that's, I guess, what cool people do. Anyway, we are testing the WattCycle battery, and what's happening here is I think it's working fine. We're cutting out at 92 amp hours. It cut out at 91 a couple times, and I keep hitting this secret button over here that is not described in the owner's manual. But what I believe it does, if I share, let me show you this. So it's at 0.7 volts, so if you can see that. I'm going to push this button, and here in a short time, it should wake up and give me a little bit higher voltage. Let me try holding it. Come on. There we go. Apparently it's a short click, long click, short click. Now we're at 12.8 volts, but I know this battery is kind of low, right? So as soon as I put a load on it, it drops down. But what I believe it's doing is it's giving you like an emergency start situation so you can keep it running. Now what we're going to do is actually test that out on a 1979 Little Red Express pickup truck. If you've not seen one of these things are super cool. This is my father-in-law's truck. My wife drove it in high school. It's got a 5.9 liter or 360 in it. And we're going to see if it'll start this thing. Do not try this at home. Actually, it says not recommended for starting car. Good thing this is a truck. And we're going to try it out and see if it fires off. That's all we need, just to see if it would turn over. And it in fact does. So that is pretty sweet that it, even if it goes into protection mode, wake it up with this button, and you at least got one more engine crank out of it. Again, this is a 360, so it's a, I don't know, 350 horsepower or something like that. Should be plenty for your outboard if that's what you're using it on. Okay, so there you have it. Like I said, there's a couple quirks with it. Make sure it fits in your setup. They're gonna work on that. It does have posts if you need posts for whatever application, RV, something like that. You may want to have a traditional battery post. And the 4-star button's nice. Overall performance-wise, like I said, has no issues with it. I'll put some links down in the description if you're interested in that. Be sure to check those out. We've got some more content for you coming up right here. And if you haven't checked out Get Fish Marine, that's our new endeavor. I'll have another video down here for you to check that out. Would really appreciate a subscribe over there as well if you're already subscribed to this channel, so you can keep up with what we're doing there. And that's our WattCycle lithium battery.